Joining us right now is a man who many people avoid at all costs until it is far too late. Not because he's a bad guy, on the contrary, he's a great guy, but because he is a dentist. So today, he is going to be telling us all about teeth and dentistry. Please welcome to the show none other than the great one, Eric Niles.
Hey, thanks for having me, Thomas.
Wow.
I appreciate being here.
Wow.
Big greedy man in the house.
That's right. A long time coming on the show.
It's only been since 2012 that
That's
we
right.
started talking, became best friends, and just stayed forever.
Exactly. Through many different moves, because you just moved from Buffalo to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I used to live in Buffalo, moved to Albany for a year, then back to Buffalo, now down to Atlanta, Georgia. And I got to tell you something, it's pretty awesome here. I love it.
You love an ATL, huh? You've been there
I love the ATL. Weather's great, close to everything. Everywhere's a 2-hour flight. Life's good. And I can't be happier.
And how long you been in ATL now?
I've been here since September 1st. So
Yeah.
I'm coming up on 10 weeks. First quarter is almost up.
This is a lot bigger of a city than Buffalo, so I'm sure you're having a lot more
Buffalo is
experience.
probably about 500,000 on a good day.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia's gotten a million. So much bigger, definitely a different vibe. But each city has their own charm.
Right. I'm sure you're having many more experiences in Atlanta.
Yeah, just because there's a larger number of things to do, people to meet, fun
Right.
times to be had. But Buffalo had its charm too. And that
Right.
smallness was the charm of Buffalo for sure.
And I'm sure you're making some more money because there's a lot more teeth out there. And I'm sure there are a lot more rotted teeth because they're probably rotting behind grills and veneers and all kind of stuff. So we'll get into that. Let's talk teeth, because let me tell you, I know a lot about dentistry, but not as much as you. I know about being in the chair. I don't know much
All right.
about the opposite end. So how long is dentist school? Is that what it's called? Dentist school? What do you call
It
it?
is called dental school.
Dental
It is
school.
4 years, 4 years long. And then if you'd like, you could do a year of residency afterward for general dentistry or a multi-year specialty in whatever field of dentistry you want to pursue.
So tell me about, is there one thing that you learned that kind of baffled you, one thing that surprised you when you went to dental school that you were like, well, I didn't know that?
I didn't quite understand that your mouth is actually a window into the whole body. Because when people have problems going on in the mouth, it's oftentimes has to relate to things that are going on in your body. Like, for instance, when they would look at people's plaques from their arteries, and about 50-something bacteria were found throughout the arteries in the body that were actually found in the mouth. So keeping a nice clean mouth is going to lead to having a nice clean body to go with it.
Wow. So the mouth is reflective of your overall health, you're saying?
Absolutely.
Wow. Did that scare you? Were you like checking every crevice of your mouth after learning that?
I've done everything I can to keep my mouth clean, and I encourage every single person to. I always joke, we have the police patrol and the firefighter approach to dentistry.
Right.
Police patrol's approach is that if anything gets over 35 in the 30 zone, we start caring about it, we start taking care of it, and we make sure things don't get out of control.
Right.
When the fire is ablaze, though, then everybody just has to cram down for treatment, and we get the fire hose in, and we start killing all bacteria and all problems that are going on strong. So I always recommend the police patrol approach. Go for your cleanings, keep your teeth clean at home, be your best advocate, and don't let the problem sit, because I can promise you with no treatment, they will not get better. In fact, they will only get worse, more extensive treatment, and more expensive, and no one wants to go there.
Let me tell you what, I've been on the receiving end of the fire department method one too many times. Cheers for the Pepsi there. I've experienced that.
Gatorade.
I've experienced that one too many times. What was the hardest part of dental school for you, do you think?
That's tough. For me, it was my first year of dental school. A lot of students who came to dental school finished with biology majors and bachelorettes, chemistry, physics. I took economics. I would never turn in my economics degree for a second. So many things I learned about how to manage a business, how to communicate with people, how to live my life has come from economics, but I didn't have that science background that everybody else had in dental school. And so the first semester of dental school and almost the whole first year, I spent a lot of time making up for that. That was definitely very challenging. Other than that, I really enjoyed dental school. To me, it made sense, and we had to work really hard. We had about 30 credit hour terms, if not 35 credit hours. I didn't have too much of a social life in dental school, but I enjoyed when I did. And it was the best 4 years of my life I would never want to do again.
That's a good way to sum it up. So you had to do a lot more learning about science when you were there, other than like as opposed to your to the other students.
And a lot of those students had taken a lot of these 300 and 400 level courses when they were undergrad. So they had all that background. I took all the prerequisites and I did all right. But I didn't have that upper level of learning other students came in with. But you know what? You can either feel sorry for yourself or get grinding.
Right. So speaking of grinding, how often in dental school, like when do you start actually working on people?
Every dental school is a little bit different. For me, my first patient was at the very beginning of my second year. We started doing cleanings on each other, and then we had patients who came in and needed their teeth cleaned. And so we started by cleaning their teeth. And it was an incredibly rewarding experience. Another experience that was really, really great, but I would never want to do it again that way because I was really just jumping in. Imagine jumping into the deep end, no life preserver, but you got some faculty watching over you, helping you out when necessary. And you got to start somewhere because if you never jump or you never dive in, you'll never start swimming. Exactly. So you got to just go and don't take any bad risks, but jump in, get exploring. And it's been the best jump I've ever taken.
Beautiful. I'm happy for you. That's wonderful to hear that you're enjoying what you do. That's absolutely amazing. So you are on your second practice right now. You are in your second practice of dentistry. You were working in Buffalo. Now you're working in ATL. Please tell us all about the worst mouth you have ever worked on up until today.
That's a really challenging question. Because I always say this, and there was this professor by the name of Dr. Pankey, who's told me something that stayed with me throughout my life and so far in dentistry. And that's that you never really have a mouth or teeth come into your office. There's usually a person that's bringing their mouth. They have a story, they have a history, they have reasons why they've done what they've done. And on top of the dental part of this, there's a behavioral part of this. Some people have mouths that are just difficult to restore because of many, many different factors. Some patients are difficult to treat because they struggle to sit still in the dental office or don't enjoy dental treatment or are constantly needing that firefighting approach if necessary, but we do it. One patient just had a lot of tough teeth. They couldn't eat, they couldn't drink a lot, their teeth would hurt all the time. And we were able to get this patient into nice implant dentures. And this patient's, not only were their teeth looking beautiful, straight, white, pearly, all the good things you'd want, they were changed psychologically. If there was one thing about, I think when most people think of teeth, think about if you had no teeth and what that would be like. And then you would understand the impact of teeth and how great that really makes your life. It's unfortunately difficult to get people to understand no teeth until they have no teeth, but save the teeth. There is no better replacement to your own teeth in your mouth than the teeth in your mouth. So brush them twice daily, floss them, mouthwash, get a water pick if you need, and just keep your teeth clean. We've had some mouths that have a lot of plaque in them, bad breath, periodontal and bone loss disease, and your teeth become loose. You name it, bad cavities, broken teeth. We really changed lives at my practice, and and as a profession, and I couldn't be more proud of that.
So what I want to know if this is true or if this is a myth.
Go for it. We'll play some Mythbusters here.
Tell me about Dew Mouth. Is Dew Mouth a real thing, and is Mountain Dew the worst drink for your teeth?
The answer is I will say it is one of the worst drinks you could have for your teeth because there will always be something worse after the recording of the show. I had the pleasure of going to Western Virginia. We call it Big Stone Gap in Leesburg, Virginia. This is the middle of the Appalachian Mountains. Not a well-off town, but people have teeth. People need dental care. And so we're on a remote area medical trip, which is a charitable organization. We're at least 10 hours from Buffalo in the middle of, I don't even know if we had cell phone reception in this area. It was so remote. And we're in this gymnasium. We're cruising by about 10:30. We got into town. We drove all day Friday, so we get into 10:30. And there are people outside at the football field waiting for care. The care starts at 6 a.m. the next morning. They're already at the school partying Friday night. People had driven in from at least hundreds of miles away to get care.
Tailgating for the dentist.
Well, they are tailgating. There's meals, there's everything.
Mountain Dew on
Music,
tap.
you name it. And so we have this debriefing at 5:30 the night before, the morning of, sorry. And they said, please do not put anything under the chair that the patients are going to be sat on. That space is reserved. And of course, everybody's a little confused. They're like, what could be like going on, right? Like, what is this reserved for? It's like under the chair. The chair's going to collapse probably because it was a portable chair. And they're like, it's not for the coat. So it was in November. It's not for their purse. It's not for the jackets, whatever else they bring with them. It's for the 2 liter of Mountain Dew. And these patients needed a lot of extractions. And Mountain Dew, if you just honestly eliminated Mountain Dew from the market or from your diet, your teeth would be so much better off. And if you do drink Mountain Dew, even though I discourage it, drink it in a couple of settings. Like drink it over like 30 minutes. If you're sipping on this from 9 to 5, a whole bottle or 2 bottles over like 8 hours of replenishing cavity juice to your teeth, you will have Mountain Dew mouth, and it's not good.
What does Mountain Dew mouth look like? Just stained teeth?
Decayed teeth, like broken teeth.
Broken teeth.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you want to go down the rabbit holes of TikTok and Google images, just fire up Mountain Dew teeth. It's very real.
Is there something about Mountain Dew that makes it worse than, let's say, Pepsi or...
The amount of sugar that is found in Mountain Dew is insane.
There's more than the average soda.
I am pretty confident. I would have to read the nutrition facts in order to be confident. But Mountain Dew, is single-handedly one of my best practice builders financially.
Oh, I bet.
Mountain Dew. And I'm also sitting here telling people to not use Mountain Dew. Even though Mountain Dew creates my office a significant amount of income, I'm sitting here telling everybody to please stop drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I don't think your warning will do much. I've seen a documentary.
No pun intended there. I see how you did that.
Will do much. I've seen a documentary about the exact situation you're referring to. When I started to heal my teeth when I was younger, I started to get I'm not healed them myself, but I started to get a lot of work done on them, and I ended up falling down a rabbit hole on YouTube, and I found a documentary about the exact thing you're talking about, where they have these towns where the entire town, there's one tooth between all 500 people in this town probably. You know what I mean? Everybody's teeth is broken, and they're all lining up. And most of it was extractions, basically, because they were that far gone. So would you say that most of them were extractions?
When I went to Big Stone Gap, Virginia, a lot of those patients needed extractions. Yes,
because they were just done. And so they would go once a year. This would be a yearly event that people would.
This specific charitable organization, Road Area Medical, went to Leesburg once a year, usually.
The big
there might be other organizations that go as well.
The big tooth fair's coming to town. Everybody's gonna walk out without at least 3.
It's on the calendar. It's a big deal in these towns when the tooth fair is coming to town.
With the tailgating, they would bring Mountain Dew to the office.
They brought it to the appointment. There's one person, literally the first 3 patients there walked in with a bottle of Mountain Dew. I thought the instructor was joking when he said, please leave the area under the chair for the Mountain Dew. You just think this can't be real, right? But it is.
Unbelievable.
And so to the general public, to all the audience here at Gritty Shows, slow up the Mountain Dew.
Yeah, listen, and I'm not shaming.
Don't do the Dew.
I'm not shaming any soda drink because I love soda. I just don't like Mountain Dew, and I think it's for the reason it's just too sugary now. I used to like it when I was a kid, in high school, but now I don't know.
Just too sugary.
It's
too sugary.
There's some other stuff in there I heard in Mountain Dew that's not necessarily in all the other sodas. I think there's some other chemicals in there that are not good for you. But yeah, in those documentaries, they show you that. And I think it happened not too long ago this year where people put Mountain Dew in the baby bottles. So these kids are exposed to Mountain Dew out the womb, dude. They're getting the IV of Mountain Dew right out the womb.
And now you're already starting from behind, and that's no good place to start. Ladies and gentlemen, go with water.
It's horrific. Oh yeah, you know what? That's
on
what
the flip side of this.
That's what
some of that bottled water. I'm glad you pulled it up. You got to be careful. Some of that bottled water is really acidic.
Yes.
And can also rot your teeth. So tap water is great. Make sure your community has fluoridated water. 10 out of 10 recommend that for everybody. It is probably the cheapest and single largest dental community health we've ever done. Strongly recommend you drink good water with fluoride in it.
Yes, I was called a crazy man by a few of my friends for saying that some bottled water had more acidity. So I'm very glad that you said it because now I will rub it in their face when this show comes out because I did tell people that and I was like you could just tell like if you're up on it you can taste it sometimes like it just feels some water feels more acidic, you know. So is there anything on the list? What is one of the worst things for your teeth or maybe the worst thing for your teeth besides Mountain Dew? Is it grinding your teeth? Is it smoking? Is there one that's just like this? You can't. This is the worst for the teeth.
To me, it's
Candy.
to me, it's an overall approach of being healthy. That's number one. Number two, whole body health is important. I want people to live forever. I want people to decline at the slowest possible rate. But number two on the list after Mountain Dew has to be kids and gummies and sodas and juices. To me, if I could eradicate any disease in this world, it would be childhood obesity or obesity in general. Um, the diet is typically poor. People get cavities because they don't take care of their teeth and their diet is poor. Usually, those are probably the top two leading factors of why people get cavities. If you can just brush your teeth twice daily after breakfast and before bed, ideally, and then eat a healthy diet, you will be okay.
Do
But
you
when you start loading up all those gummy worms and the sugars and these acidic drinks, you just run into all sorts of problems, and it's not fair for kids to have a tough start on their life.
do you see a difference in the teeth from Buffalo to ATL? Is there any differences? Is there like a noticeable clientele difference?
Clientele personality, yes, but that's also because of the nature of the patients that I treat. Um, it's kind of funny. When I was first getting started, you just, like I said, you got to keep jumping. You got to keep jumping into the water, keep swimming. Sometimes you get out and then swim again. And so the first practice I went to, I was at this office. I was working one day and then every other Saturday. And it was like a great blue collar area. Doctors also at the practice were great. And it was a great variety of patients. Then I went to like a big dental organization. It was cool. I learned how to like maintain a pace and communicate with patients and try to be myself, but like also represent another brand. Then I went to a practice where it was a lot of higher end clients and they were really nice people, just a different variety of people. And then I actually found myself in an office that took a lot of Medicaid insurances. And this is where I learned that like teeth are teeth, patients are patients, and everybody's got a story. And you just have to like work with the individual. I spent 2 years working there. I would never turn it in for the world. I got better at dentistry. I got better at communicating with patients. And now in Atlanta, people's mouths, we're just having a great time vibing. We brought a practice up that was having some challenges, and it just keeps getting better every day.
The vibe.
So teeth are teeth. Every person has their own predisposing factors, um, ethnically, nurture, and nature. And so every patient's different, regardless of what practice I'm at. But every patient requires TLC for them. And I always seek to do my best to provide that.
Now, one thing I am good at, I'm not good at the care of the teeth, but I am good at sitting still and managing the pain. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm sure that you run into a lot of people who are not. People that can't sit still. What is that like? And is it mostly kids or is there a lot of adults that can't sit still as well?
We do have kids who struggle to sit still. We also have adults that act like kids who struggle to sit still. And we also have adults who it's tough to let someone in their mouth. Like one patient came up to me one time and they're like, yeah, there's only one person who's been in my mouth other than you. And I'm like, not for dental care, right? And she's like, no, I mean, obviously not.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes it's a fear barrier. I try to do what I can to create a vibe per se where we can trust each other and feel accepted. Some kids, they're not used to having another authority outside of their parents, especially after the coronavirus. So it's been a little bit tricky from a behavioral standpoint, but it seems to be passing. Some parents think they're helping, but they're not trained like we are to be able to help properly. And so they end up saying like the needle word. And of course,
Oh.
every 5-year-old kid loves hearing the word needle and they just shut down immediately and it's very difficult. So I've gone with what I call silent assisting. This is the rub the shoulder technique. The make your child feel comfortable, but please let me take care of the verbiage. We do what we can. We offer noise canceling headphones. Some people need nitrous. Not quite like
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne. Don't get too carried away. Some people
Crank it
need
up to
IV
10.
sedation for their wisdom teeth. We knock them out, or even for other care. And some people actually, some kids at younger ages end up in the operating room. Um,
Ooh.
and it's very challenging. Having so many visits would be otherwise traumatizing mentally for them. And so when they need an advanced amount of care, sometimes the operating room becomes the best choice for these types of patients.
What was it like working through COVID? Because you brought COVID up just 2 seconds ago. What was that like for you?
Um, I found coronavirus to be like weird in a variety of ways. For instance, when I graduated my residency, it was June 2020. I never envisioned going into dental school or in the field of dentistry that I'd have trouble getting a job. But in New York State, a lot of the offices were closed through like March through June. And so no one was hiring. No one really knew how the field was going to come back and redevelop, and things were kind of confusing. I still remember going to Chapel Pond. This was on probably about June 25th, maybe somewhere at the end of June. I'm like, well, I don't have a job. I would never like be without a job. Like I'm always, working to better myself. I need an income. I'm not someone's going to live off the government. So I'm like, what am I going to do? It's kind of weird. But luckily I got hired. Things ended up turning out okay. I was originally, before the coronavirus, I was working in a dental hospital setting actually. And I was in the operating room on a Friday, and they told me that we were going to be the last case before they'd have to shut down the operating room prior to the coronavirus, and taking all these new restrictions in place. I was in Albany, so we were 2 hours north of New York City. We ended up taking in some patients from New York City when their hospitals got overwhelmed. People came up to Albany. It was honestly rather refreshing, in a way that, I mean, people passing was terrible. That was absolutely the worst component of this. I don't know. I also just love people not being in my 6 foot radius. I gotta say, like people in line, they just get too close. In terms of the dental world, people were getting a lot of stress related things were happening, grinding, fractured teeth. Um, People had also not gone to the dentist over 3 months. So that can be tricky for some people who are just backed up with care. But we made it through. I think it showed me for the most extent how well people take care of their teeth without a dentist. And that's important for people to be able to care for themselves when their dental office isn't open.
What kind of precautions were you even able to take? Because I mean, you're in somebody's mouth. I mean, other than putting a mask on, what did they do? It's more like waiting room precaution.
A lot of different things. And to be fair, no one really had like a perfect way of doing this, and every office did something slightly different. A couple different things came into play. Number one, instead of people waiting in a waiting room, sometimes we scheduled so that people would just come out of their car when they were ready. Because we always scheduled in a time that like no one really had to wait in the waiting room. People installed HEPA filters. The nice thing about dentistry is that I actually never know what patient has what at any given moment, whether it's coronavirus, HIV, herpes, insert virus here, really. So we have what are called universal precautions. I'm sure you remember, if you look at some old videos and books, you remember people practice without gloves. Then you saw people starting to wear masks. They already just took precautions because certain diseases came into play. And I always thought that as a dentist, we're always infection control is probably the most important thing we'll do. You don't want me sharing needles or any of those things either. So we were always really good at infection control. So I always thought that we were best prepared, or one of the better prepared fields for this. You would see other people do, like, the best one were these plexiglass dividers between booths at a restaurant. And you're just sitting there, and that's going to save you from the coronavirus. That plexiglass. Like, there were a lot of things that people did where I'm like, this is the plan. It was
A
just
lot of
like,
those. A lot of those.
and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I have a good science background. They tell you to stay inside. That was another one of my favorite ones. Stay inside, stay home. And I'm like, so now we're gonna like, if you go outside, like you don't want to be in near other people. So there's way more space outside than there is inside. Um, my favorite one became essential businesses and like what constituted essential, what didn't. And you're just like, this is essential.
It was a
Uh,
wild time. It was a wild time.
it was a wild time, but it just
Feels like a dream.
You actually just like tried to apply a little bit of logic to it and
Oh, you
like
don't do that, dude. No,
and
don't do
thought
that.
about these
Don't
things,
do that. You get your head ripped off. Don't apply
you
logic.
would.
Don't apply logic to anything like that. Don't apply
People
logic.
would wear a mask inside their car alone with the windows closed, and I'm sitting there like,
You never know what can happen. You never
people would
know.
wear gloves and like go like pick out a
A
winner, and I'm
booger.
like, but they're clean. They're wearing gloves. It's
Listen,
okay.
let me ask you about the effectiveness of these two things, okay?
Go
One
for
thing
it.
I've seen for maybe the last 6 years, there was a spike in this. There was a big trend with charcoal and charcoal toothbrushes and charcoal toothpaste. What is that effective or is it a scam?
There are a lot of products that come to the market. So here's another tricky thing about dental products. Certain dental products that I'm using, mostly in the dental office, are all approved by the FDA. I would never use anything in your mouth that wasn't. I always love when you give people the numbing little stuff like the jelly and they're like so afraid to swallow this stuff. Like anything at the dentist, you're so afraid to swallow. If I were to put this in your mouth and you would die like a dentist, the FDA would never approve this for use in your mouth. So please know that everything that the dentist is putting in your mouth is most likely going to be safe.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
When you get into the mouthwashes and some categories of toothpaste, they actually fall under the cosmetic situation. So the FDA approval is not exactly the same. And they come to market a lot easier because the process is way less stressful and strenuous. And find stuff that has the ADA logo on it. A lot of this charcoal stuff is I'm not convinced it works any better than regular Crest or Colgate or insert your favorite brand fluoridated toothpaste.
I wasn't buying it.
Coconut floss.
I wasn't buying it.
Yeah, but people do buy it. People go and buy something that
Oh,
like
yeah.
sounds good or looks good.
Works.
Whether or not it actually works any better, I'd have to find better research. Because trust me, if it was great, every dentist would tell you to get your charcoal toothpaste.
Get your charcoal. I read that it could be the opposite, that it could hurt your enamel because the charcoals are kind of like,
It's very abrasive. So
Yeah.
yes, you can scratch your
it
teeth.
could
That is
damage the enamel, which is the most important, kids. Okay? That's the shield. All right? Let me ask about this because I've always had a little point of contention with this.
go
Is
for it.
the high-tech, state-of-the-art Batmobile toothbrushes. Make sure you get your $90 toothbrush with 6 speeds. It's like a damn vibrator with 6 speeds and 2 pulse activating things, and
You use both of those for your cavities.
you can watch the football game on your toothbrush with this one if you get the upgrade. It's like, how much should we be spending on a decent toothbrush, and are those toothbrushes any better than a regular toothbrush?
So first of all, brush your teeth. To me, like if it's brush your teeth versus don't brush your teeth with a manual, with an electric. Worst case scenario, put some toothpaste on your finger and rub it around your mouth if you're like truly in a tight bind. Electrical toothbrushes tend to work a little bit better, but I don't know if that's because of the patient usage of the toothbrush. Like if you were to conduct the manual toothbrush in the same motions as all your electric, you would be okay. But most of the studies show that the electric toothbrushes are perfect. Get yourself a spin head, Philips, Oral-B, Sonicare, your brand of choice. I'm not endorsed by anybody, by the way, just so you're all aware. Just brush your teeth. Preferably with an electric toothbrush. If you're spending more than $100 on this thing, you probably have gone for the Ferrari, or like Thomas, you're watching the football game on your toothbrush. Also, set your timer for 2 minutes, or like play a song in the bathroom. A lot of people just put the toothbrush in their mouth. They start scrubbing around everywhere. Next thing they know, they're spitting it out, and it's only been 45 seconds. So take your time, brush your teeth. You want to eat your steak when you're 45, 55, 75, 95, corn on the cob. I don't have a trial pair of dentures you can try in advance so you can realize how difficult and painful it is. But please brush your teeth.
Right. So they don't have to buy the state-of-the-art function.
You don't need a Cadillac electric toothbrush, but grab something you're gonna reach all your crevices and take care of your teeth. And also, don't share with friends. Do not share with your toothbrush with your friends.
Have you heard of that? Do people come and tell you they do that?
You ever just in life wish you could unhear things?
No way, dude. What?
Or unsee things?
People say that to you?
Sometimes it comes out of the college. Hey, I'm over at my friend's house. What should I do? I'm on vacation. I forgot my toothbrush. What should I do? You name it. Like there are a lot of things
It's
that like
not.
and the
It's not dialysis. I think you couldn't miss a morning if you had to. I wouldn't. I wouldn't, like you said, use your finger or something. Like I
do
would.
anything. Use mouthwash if it's better than nothing.
What the hell?
Now you know you're retarded.
That's crazy. That.
I mean, I gotta tell you something. One thing I started doing recently in my dentistry is taking pictures and like just listening again to some of the things that I'm hearing. I could write a book. It's kind of hilarious, all the things.
Do
Like
you?
sometimes, like this patient, they tell me they brush their teeth and floss every day and brush their teeth 3 times a day. They have so much plaque in these teeth and calculus and buildup. I actually took pictures and showed it to them, and the radiographs were fully saturated of everything. Perfect patient for like a dental student who needs to like see what plaque is. And so she's like, I have great teeth. And I am sitting there behind my mask, holding all comments and laughter. I'm about to lose control.
Delusional.
And you know what? I said, to be fair, I actually have these plaque tablets. You chew them up, and they turn all of the plaque blue. So together we could see if there's plaque, and B, you could use them when you brush so that you know where the plaque is. You can get these on Amazon, by the way. They're not prescription or anything. If you're allergic to food dyes, just be careful what you're buying. And this lady's mouth turned blue. And I'm like, you really do have a lot of buildup in plaque. And I like took pictures on her phone and zoomed it in so she could see. And she's like, I thought I was doing such a good job. And I'm like, let me help you.
How
That's
could,
why you're here.
how could she be doing that bad of a job if she's saying she's brushing and flossing?
How many times do you say you do things but don't actually do things? People come to the dentist and they feel like they're supposed to tell the dentist.
Like they're gonna get in trouble? Like you're not gonna know?
I'm not here to get you in trouble. I'm here to get you on the right path.
Yeah, like really, you're not the principal.
Thomas, why did you not brush your teeth? Like, what is wrong? Are you incapable?
Whoa.
Do you not like your teeth?
I was at my
No,
friend's
that's not
house.
gonna
I didn't
make-
want to share a brush.
Yeah, it's not going to make anybody brush better or be more compliant.
You're not there to reprimand them. I've never been afraid of.
If you don't brush your teeth, next appointment, I will not let you back in my office.
I'm gonna kill
No, I mean, if you don't want to brush your teeth because you don't care about your teeth, that's your choice. And I love a society where you can make choices. You just unfortunately sometimes have to bear the consequences of your choices.
Drink the Mountain Dew and get ready for the annual tooth fair.
Yeah, the tooth fair comes in once a year. You
That's
drink
what
your
you
Mountain
wanna
Dew for the
do.
364. I'll come in on 365, and you just keep drinking your dew. I'll be back next year.
Just keep on going. Just keep on
Do the
going.
dew, baby. Do that dew.
And I pray that you keep on going because I love to see my friends enjoying what they do. There's nothing better than seeing your friends succeed and love what they do. Because I remember we met way before you were a dentist. So let's talk a little bit about that. How did we meet, in your words?
Oh, how do we meet, in my words? So I signed up for the program to be a job coach for these downstate special individuals, all of which had some form of
Very special.
very, very special visual impairment. And so I was told that I was going to be working with Mr. Andrew Zhang,
The man.
the man. This guy
The dome.
has got a dome. And you know what? He actually was amazing. He still is amazing,
Andrew's
by the
the
way.
best, man. Andrew's the best.
So I go up to the daycare. So I'm told that my place where I'm going to be with 2 other job coaches and 3 individuals from the program, and I'm going to be working with Andrew to help him lead a class of 6-year-olds over a summer. And so, of course, Andrew is attempting to figure out how to communicate with 6-year-olds. Andrew is trying to fit into the class and trying to engage the kids. Andrew's about 18 years old at the time. And then together in the afternoons, we came together and we'd be responsible for cleaning up the gym, making sure and working out too. We did a little workout.
A little working out, yeah.
You got to keep the noodle running, got to stay in physical shape. Do not get out of shape. Do not get overweight. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. And, we just, Andrew was always in his own world. Nobody really knew what was going on, but there were so many memorable parts of that 2012 summer. We truly had a blast just enjoying the little ones, helping them play sports, eat their lunches, go swimming, play on the playground, all these cool physical activities. One kid tried to throw Andrew the football, hoping he'd catch it. They just didn't know
Totally
that he
blind.
was completely blind, like no light perception, and poor football hits Andrew in the dome. We're all just like, so like, Andrew, you gotta catch it. And of course, these poor kids
How?
don't quite. How? How do I
How
catch
do I
the
do that?
ball?
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
see anything. Andrew tells all these six-year-olds, there's like a class of 26-year-olds with two other instructors, that he's going to read them a book.
Totally blind.
He's totally blind. And so Andrew would carry this Braille note with him. It's this device. It's almost like a PC, but it's all Braille because he couldn't see the PC, so he can run his finger and
No
read
screen.
it.
It's just Braille on the tablet.
Andrew literally was carrying around what would look like a 1970s version of a computer, like that needed a fan. Like this machine was large, but it was handheld like over like a messenger bag over the shoulder.
Yeah.
And this was, and Andrew was like, we just started like reading the Braille note, but you could never really tell if Andrew was like with us.
Sometimes he'd be asleep, I think.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting up and he'd be asleep.
Yeah, he would just be asleep. And we're like, Andrew, like, huh?
Oh, what happened, man? So he
So
starts
it's like
reading to the
that
kids, and the kids think he's like memorizing the book, right?
So Andrew starts reading to the kids, and these kids are like, he can see. He can see.
They don't know what they're looking
I'm blind. I cannot see.
at. Sure.
And he's like reading the book to them perfectly and like turning the pages because the Braille note cued him to turn the page.
Yeah.
So there's some children's books that he was reading. And so all these kids are completely perplexed as how Andrew is reading the book. Another kid screams, Andrew, did you memorize the whole book?
Even the
Yeah.
staff was perplexed. The teachers,
The
right?
staff were completely confused
like,
of how
"How
this
the
was all working.
fuck?"
They're like, oh my God, Andrew, you did such a great job rehearsing this. And Andrew's like,
I'm
pick
pretty good,
any
mom.
book I will read for you. As if like Andrew has an encyclopedia of books up in the dome. And the kids really just fell in love with Andrew the whole summer, which is really cool to see. And he learned a lot about how to manage children, how to, feed them and all these different things. But Thomas is a different story. One day, Thomas comes into the program, and I'm his job coach, okay, the last week. And Tom walks into work like this.
With my collar up like a vampire. I don't even remember doing this.
Yeah, Tom walks in like this, and I'm like, "Oh, man, what are you doing? Like, you have a job. Like, you can't be walking around like this everywhere." And so Tom's like, I got something on my neck. I'm like, yeah, you got hit by a lacrosse ball. Let's go into the classroom, and you got hit by an errant lacrosse ball. That's our story for today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have fun, just cover it up. Ask her for some cover up.
It was a few of them though. It was a few marks I got from that night. So that's why I think that's why I put my collar up, because it was like I got hit with how many lacrosse balls?
You got hit with a lot of lacrosse
I
balls.
got hit with a bunch. And you said, I don't remember like even this day, but you said all the staff was inquiring about why I looked like a vampire.
Well, how many, ladies and gentlemen, okay? This is like when you like start questioning society. Like Tom is like, why are you walking around with your collar
And I had
up?
never, I was already in the program for like 4 weeks. I had never come in like that ever. This was like the last day.
But now Tom is deciding. All the kids are like, hey, what's going on? Your shirt's broken. And I'm looking at these kids like, and of course these are like 5-year-old kids, so they don't fully understand what a hickey is.
Yeah, thank God.
And so, but they all know what a ball is. You know, they got hit.
Got hit with a ball last night.
Yeah, Tom got hit with a ball.
So you
And,
enjoyed working with us.
Next thing you know, I'm like, Tom, like we gotta like just, you got hit with a ball. It's our story for today. And everybody just believed that Tom got hit by a ball and he couldn't catch a ball. Like,
I don't know if anybody believed that. Did they?
I mean, the instructors definitely did not.
Did I eventually let the collar down at the end of the day?
Oh, I think like everybody started to understand, like, you know, when everybody like knows what the truth is, but
Yeah.
like you just can't say it for the sake of like being honest with people.
Yeah.
Was Tom. Like, everybody knows what's going on. Like there's only so many lacrosse ball type marks one has on their neck, all in a row over here and all in a row over here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're smart people, obviously someone here was not as smart, but that's okay. You have her put them in a place where you can cover them up easily. So
they were there too. They were. It was,
Sorry?
all the space was taken. They were there too. All the real estate was taken up.
Oh
I
my God.
graduated with a hickey too on my neck, like right on my throat. My parents were not proud. And I go to get my diploma. There's this beamer. Just like I graduated with orange hair and a hickey. I mean, there's no
If
better
the
way
girl
to
was smart,
say
she would have put it right up here.
right on
Like,
my forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like I don't think it feels as great on your forehead though. So you
Well,
enjoyed you enjoyed working with a bunch of blind kids.
It was great. I mean, we had a great time.
I agree.
If you worked when I first was there, I was a little confused, like what they could do and couldn't do. And like my assumption was originally like just help them through, make it happen. Then once I just let them do their own thing, they were way more independent than what I had originally expected.
Yeah.
So for instance, Tom, Derek, and Andrew would all come to work on the subway from the door. Like they had their own transportation to the job. I did not have to go pick them up. And I'm like, well, they managed to get to work today. They woke up on time. They got dressed. Like all these things are happening. Let them drive the bus a little bit and then me just function in a supportive role.
Well,
What's been going on over in Utica over there?
Utica, shootings, drug use, overdoses, a lot of fun stuff in Utica. A lot of the Narcan is being administered in Utica.
Hey, I used to give out Narcan at my office.
Yeah?
We have a lot of things. You'd be surprised. I see things in the dental office where people are having domestic abuse. We report that to the police.
Really?
We get people help. Yeah, you'd be surprised. But as a dentist, I always thought, they fix teeth. It turns out they do a lot more than fixing teeth.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your expertise and your knowledge. It has been fantastic. And like I said, a long time in the making. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thomas, thanks for having me.
Of course.
As we celebrate our 12-year reunion here on the podcast.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit this guy up for your Valentine's Day needs. And brush your teeth, get rid of the dew, and then see your dentist every 6 months. Aside from that, guys, it's been a pleasure, Thomas.
There you go. Peace and love.
Peace and love all the time.